Welcome to the Horror Unmasked podcast,
where we unmask the monsters and explore the lore. I'm Amber.
And I'm Lily, and today we will be dissecting
Beetlejuice.
Let's say his name.
We pan over a diorama of the entire town before stopping over a small white house. A tarantula begins to crawl over the little figure, but a man takes the bug and throws it out the window.
Green flag.
Yeah. The man, Adam, goes back to working on his diorama when his wife, Barbara, comes in to exchange presents for their staycation. The phone begins to ring, but before either one of them can get it, a car horn honks from downstairs.
Barbara opens the door to a woman named Jane, who has come to tell her about a family who wants to buy their house and says that it's too big for just 2 people. Barbara kicks Jane out, and Adam asks if they can go down to the store to get brushes for Adam's diorama of the town.
On their way back home, the couple spots a dog in the middle of the bridge, and while trying to avoid hitting it, they go over the bridge instead. When they arrive home, they are soaking wet and trying to warm themselves in front of the fire that they didn't start. While warming their hands, Barbara's fingers light on fire, but it doesn't burn her.
Adam is confused on how they made it back to the house and decides to retrace their steps. When stepping out the front door, Adam falls into a sandy pit with giant snake monsters. Barbara pulls Adam back in and shows him that they don't have a reflection in the mirror. There's also a book called The Handbook for the Recently Deceased sitting on a table in the living room, and the couple realizes they might not have survived the crash.
The couple goes to their room to try and figure out how to be dead and read the handbook. Meanwhile, a strange man is reading the newspaper when he comes across the Maitlands obituary, the couple who died in the crash. In their house, the Maitlands are going stir-crazy, not being able to leave their home. From reading the handbook, they have learned that most people who are alive won't see the dead. When they try to call to Jane, who has just visited their house, when Jane drives away, there is a sold sign in the front yard.
While the couple was sleeping, a rattling wakes them up, and they find out that a new family is moving into their home. The wife, Delia, is already talking about renovating the entire house, while the rest of the family, Charles and Lydia, check out the other rooms. A man named Otho comes in from the window, knocking down some decorations when he comes in, claiming that coming in from the front door would be bad luck. Otho and Delia then start discussing renovations.
That is the weirdest fucking thing.
No, yeah.
In the world.
It's so random. Like, I
So
forget that
fucking
it
random.
happens. Like, when it does happen, I'm just like, okay.
Yep. Barbara is upset that random people are moving into their home. But Adam says that he has been reading the handbook and thinks they should act like ghosts. While Delia and Otho go through the house spray painting the walls they want to change, they open a closet where the audience sees Barbara hanging from a noose where she takes her face off. Otho and Delia saw nothing but the Maitland's wedding clothes. When they go through another door into the office, Adam's headless body is on the floor, while Barbara stands over him with a knife, holding his head. But Otho and Delia are unfazed again.
Charles pops out and claims that the office is his space, and he doesn't want Delia to touch or renovate anything in that room. Otho and Delia then talk about going up to the attic, where Adam's diorama is, when Adam realizes he didn't lock the door and rushes up to keep the strangers out. Barbara has had enough already, not being able to frighten the new people away, and steps outside again, falling into the sand pit. A sandworm is coming straight for them when Barbara punches it in the face, and they both go back inside.
While the new family sits down for their first family dinner in the house, they discuss how they left New York to live a life in the sticks, and how everything in the house will be tossed out when the furniture trucks come. A little while later, construction is happening on the house. Maitlands, unable to find any help in the handbook, come across a piece of paper that fell out of the handbook that says to call Beetlejuice.
While taking pictures outside, Lydia sees the Maitlands up in the attic. Jane drives up and gives a skeleton key to Lydia, which opens any door in the house, so she decides to go up to the attic. The Maitlands hear her coming up to unlock the door, but hold the handle so she can't come in. The television in the attic then turns on, and another ad for Beetlejuice, the bio-exorcist, is playing, where we learn that if you say his name 3 times, you can summon him. Lydia finally stops trying to open the door, and Adam says he read something in the handbook about drawing a new door in case of emergencies.
After drawing the door, Adam knocks 3 times, and the brick wall opens up, and a bright green light emerges from the opening. As the couple goes inside, Lydia sees the light coming from the other side of the attic door. While Charles is bird watching and flipping through the bird books, Lydia tries to tell him what she saw in the attic, but he sends her away.
After stepping through the door, the couple finds themselves in some lobby with a bunch of other dead people. The lady at the front desk tells them that they've only been dead 2 months, and that in the 125 years they get in the house, they are only allowed 3 meetings with Juno, their caseworker. Lydia ends up lockpicking the attic and finds the diorama alongside the handbook for the recently deceased. The Maitlands are finally called to meet with Juno.
The couple walks through a door and ends up back in their home, but it has been completely changed and renovated. Juno appears, and the couple discovers that they have been waiting to meet with her for 3 months. All Juno says they can do is to get the Dietzes out themselves. Barbara asks about Beetlejuice, and Juno says they shouldn't get involved with him, saying he used to be her assistant but became very troublesome.
Adam believes they can scare the new family out on their own, and when going out to plan, we find Beetlejuice hanging out in the cemetery in Adam's diorama. Downstairs, Charles is on the phone with his boss named Maxie, and invites him to come visit the new house and town. After he hangs up, he hears ghostly moans coming from outside his office door. When he opens the door, Charles finds Adam underneath a sheet with holes for eyes, but mistakes him for his daughter Lydia.
Both Adam and Barbara tried to scare Delia next, but she is sleeping too hard to notice. When they leave the room, Lydia photobombs them, thinking it's her parents, and discovers that in the photos, they don't have feet. Barbara and Adam reveal themselves to Lydia, who isn't scared of them at all, and can see them. The Maitlands are confused as to why Lydia can see them, and Lydia tells them that she's been reading through their handbook and discovered that live people usually ignore the strange and unusual. However, Lydia believes that she is strange and unusual.
Barbara and Adam show Lydia the diorama in the attic and tell her how they've been trying to scare them out of the house. Lydia tells them their plan won't work and that they're going to have to find a new tactic. The next day, Delia is getting ready for a dinner with some business partners, while Lydia tries to tell her about the ghosts. Even though Lydia has photos, neither parents believe her story. With nothing working, Adam decides that it might be time to contact the Beetle guy.
Up in the attic, Barbara sees flashing lights coming from the diorama cemetery, and Adam tells her to say his name 3 times. When she says his name for the 3rd time, the couple ends up in the model and digs Beetlejuice up. When they finally finish digging, Beetlejuice appears, and Adam and Barbara see just how unhinged he is. The couple explains how they need help, but ultimately decide they don't want Beetlejuice involved. Barbara gets them out of the model, saying she doesn't want Beetlejuice exposed to Lydia, and comes up with a plan of her own to get the family out.
Later at the Dietz's dinner, the group is talking about ghosts when Lydia chimes in, saying that she saw ghosts in the house. Delia tries to change the subject, but then the Banana Boat song by Harry Belafonte starts to come from her mouth. The group thinks it's a joke until they all begin to join in, singing and dancing. At the very end, the shrimp they were all eating turns into hands and grabs their faces, pushing them to the ground. The Maitlands think they have finally scared them off, but Lydia comes to the attic saying the group wants to meet them. Downstairs, the group talks how they can turn the supernatural into profit.
I hate people like this.
No, me too. Like, leave it alone.
Just leave it alone. They wouldn't have done it if they weren't trying to fucking scare you and get rid of you.
Yeah.
Lydia comes back downstairs to tell the group the ghosts don't want to come down, and all of the guests leave disappointed. The Dietzes and Otho go up towards the attic, and when they finally go inside, the Maitlands are gone. Otho discovers the handbook and steals it from the attic. When the group goes back downstairs, Beetlejuice begins laughing from the cemetery as we see the Maitlands hanging from outside the window trying to hide. While the Dietzes discuss what just happened, the railing turns into a snake with Beetlejuice's head, and he trips Otho down the stairs. Beetlejuice dangles Charles above the stairs and drops him. When Barbara comes out and says his name 3 times, cutting his shenanigans short. Lydia thinks the Maitlands are responsible and runs to her room, upset.
Beetlejuice is back in the model, and the Maitlands scold him for scaring the family. All of a sudden, a brothel appears in the middle of the model, and Beetlejuice gets distracted. Juno then summons the Maitlands back to her office and tells them the whorehouse was her idea to get Beetlejuice out of the picture. Juno is very mad because the Maitlands allowed themselves to be photographed, let Otho take the handbook, and summoned Beetlejuice. Back at the house, Delia and Charles are worried about the environment for Lydia when Otho comes and tells them that Maxie Dean, Charles's boss, will be over soon, and to get over it and figure out how to sell the ghosts.
Spoiler warning, skip ahead. Meanwhile, Lydia is in her room, depressed about being alone and planning to kill herself in the most goth way possible.
Yeah, she is.
So goth.
Yeah.
The gothiest of goths.
Mm-hmm. She says she's going to throw herself from the bridge.
How many corrections she made to make it sound darker.
To make it sound darker.
Mm-hmm.
I am alone. Nope. I am
utterly alone.
alone.
Juno tells the Maitlands that the Dietzes have got to go, and they need to come up with something more scary to do. Lydia goes up to the attic to talk to the Maitlands, where she finds Beetlejuice trapped in the brothel. He tries to convince her that if she summons him, he would take her to the other side to find Barbara and Adam. Right before Lydia releases Beetlejuice, the Maitlands come back to the attic and stop her. In a heartfelt moment, Barbara tells Lydia that she wants her and her family to stay.
Charles and Otho come up to the attic to take the model downstairs to show Maxie for his presentation on what they can turn the town into. Lydia tries to tell her family what the Maitlands have decided, but Maxie is impatient to see some ghosts. Otho says he can summon them, but first he needs some of their personal items, to which Delia reveals she kept their wedding clothes. The group begins the ritual at the table as Barbara disappears from the attic and reappears inside of her wedding dress in front of the group. Adam is next, but the ritual begins to cause the couple to decay and wither away.
Lydia freaks out and asks Beetlejuice for help, where he agrees to fix the problem, but only if Lydia will marry him. Lydia gives in and summons Beetlejuice. First, he gets rid of Maxie Dean and Otho before reversing the decay of the Maitlands and marrying Lydia. During the vows, the Maitlands step in and try to say his name 3 times. Beetlejuice puts Adam back in the model and sends Barbara into the sand dunes with the giant worms. Right before Lydia has to say "I do," Barbara breaks through the roof on the back of a sandworm, which swallows Beetlejuice, saving Lydia.
The family has officially come together and agreed to live in peace. The Maitlands seem to have taken Lydia in as their own, alongside Lydia's parents, helping her with homework and using their ghostly powers to give the house some light and laughter. Finally having the family they always wanted.
The end. Yee.
Tee-hee.
Hell yeah.
I love this movie.
It's such a good film.
I've seen it way too many times.
So, this film was released March 30th, 1988. The director is Tim Burton.
Of course.
Yes. Featured song Day-O, the Banana Boat song. Distributed by Warner Bros. Film
Yes.
Flex.
Mm-hmm.
Cinematography by Thomas E. Ackerman. And production company, the Jeffen Company.
Yeah. It had a budget of $15 million. And in the box office made $74 million.
Hell yeah, make it rain, motherfuckers. I mean, honestly, in a lot of my notes, it was such a strange and peculiar film that just had not been. It just had not been yet. Nothing like it existed yet. So it was literally one of a kind.
Yeah. It's only got an 86 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Which is wrong.
It's very wrong. It needs a 99.9999. And the only reason...
Because you can always fix stuff.
Exactly. And also... boo that the Maitlands died on their staycation.
Fuck that nonsense, but
right.
You know.
Also music by Danny Elfman.
Yeah.
Love that guy. Did so much with Tim Burton. And it's just real great. It's only an hour and a half long, so it's not too crazy.
Yeah. And then our main cast, which is
lots of people.
But I stuck with like a handful of like the family, and
I've got
and
6
the main
people.
I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people.
Oh, you added another person.
I added another person, probably because you probably didn't add him, but I did. So I've got.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I have Alec Baldwin as Adam, Gina Davis as Barbara, Winona Ryder as Lydia.
We love her in this podcast.
Yes. Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice, or Beetlejuice, as you more well know him as.
Yes.
Catherine O'Hare as Delia. Jeffrey Jones as Charles. And Glenn Shaddix as Otho.
Yeah.
Many of the people in this really believe that Michael Keaton should have gotten an Oscar for his role as Beetlejuice.
I wouldn't say that.
For the time?
For the time, maybe. But he was only in it for 17 minutes.
Yeah. There are some people who have gotten Oscars for much less.
That's fair.
And he is such a fucking prolific character, it's not even funny.
That's true.
He has merch made year-round about him.
Yeah. HHN was huge for him.
Hell yeah.
I got so much
Beetlejuice stuff. Hell yeah.
Lanyard, mug.
Hat, shirt.
Jacket. Yup.
I got leggings.
Pins. The list goes on.
Oh, yeah. So, for them, as we mentioned, that it's kind of a one-of-a-kind. It was a one-of-a-kind thing at the time. So their biggest challenge overall was the ability to sell this world, because there was absolutely no question that Beetlejuice offered a great opportunity visually and in terms of making a memorable film. At the very onset, the most daunting thing was how to create a world that wants to be real and bizarre, but almost surreal at the same time. Because it's always the like odd angles, things like that, but then, you know, have like that touch of reality to it, which was definitely fascinating. So Tom Ackerman, Tom Duffield, and Bo Welch were all production designers. And so it was actually kind of funny because Bo Welch mentioned that they basically just drove endlessly and aimlessly around Vermont trying to find a location.
Oh, well, they found a good one.
They went into a couple of bookstores and gas stations and kept seeing a postcard over and over again for this little town called East Corinth. And when they saw it enough times, they were like, well, that one looks great. And so basically that's what they were looking for, and it was because of a postcard and a gas station that they found their location.
That's pretty cool.
And it was kind of fun because Tom Duffield finished all the sets in Los Angeles, and then he flew to Vermont and oversaw the construction of the house, and they literally redid the town and constructed the covered bridge because in reality Tim Burton found it on a laminated placemat in a restaurant. Where they were, and he was like, this is the town right here. They went there and it didn't have that covered bridge, so they had to build the whole bridge. The town itself still has a lot of the stuff that they created from the Beetlejuice film.
That's pretty cool. You can go and visit things.
Yeah, you really can. And then a lot of it had to do with like, so Tim Burton, you know his name. You know who the hell I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
His style is so effing specific. You can't not see a still from a film and be like, oh, yes, that is a Tim Burton movie.
Unless you are talking about Coraline, because that is not Tim Burton.
That is a fact. But
you may think that.
But it is not. No, it is not. But obviously Tim Burton films are very iconic and very striking. So his aesthetic complement to his characters, all of which had been designed and drawn by the time that like Bo Welch had started. You could look at beautiful little drawings of Beetlejuice and Lydia and everybody in the movie. They had all been drawn. Basically, they were trying to figure out what was the best environment to surround them in at any specific point in the story. Because you looked at all of his creature designs too, like the fan worm, and all that stuff was there and very valuable tools for inspiration.
I love the sandworm so much. I still want that pillow.
Yes.
I need that pillow.
So they had a lot of inspiration coming from Tim's drawings. And then physically, the hardest project obviously was the bridge, because they literally had issues where they kept having thunderstorms. So they had to build a big dam, and a thunderstorm would come by and blow it all away. And then artistically, the hardest thing was the house on the hill, because there was no roads. So they had to cut a road into the ground in order to get a road up to the house.
It's so weird because the house looks like it's so much farther from the town than
yes,
it really
it does.
Like they dead ass could have walked there.
Yeah.
Like you did not need a car to drive into town.
Yeah. And they built it like originally it was postmodern, and then they took it down and made it like in its more original condition that they shot for the end.
Yeah.
And they honestly tried to do as much in camera as possible, which is like classic for the time, because it wasn't a big budget. They did not have that big of a budget. So there was very little post-production stuff. The sandworms and and here's the thing. Every time they stepped outside their door, they were going to Jupiter.
No, yeah.
So the sandworms and like, I guess there was like a little yellow planet that was in Jupiter and everything. It was done in camera. One of the coolest stunts that they did, which was cheap and brilliant, was the scene where they come back after they've been killed and they look in the mirror and they can't see their reflection.
Yeah, that was cool.
Well, what they did is they took the fireplace, pulled the glass up, turned it around, faced it into the room, and had them on the opposite side. So you're looking into the set, but the fireplace had been turned around.
Yeah.
And the mirror had been taken out. Really simple. And the scene with Alec Baldwin where Gina's standing with his head in her hand.
Yeah.
He was just kneeling behind like a black show card that was cut around his chin. Because looking...
And she was just like had his...
Yeah, because you could literally look closely. It's all done on camera. It was a really quick cut, but that's all it was. It was literally just like this little thing and they would just like post-production. It was wild. And do you want to know what's even funnier? Is that once they got to the afterlife, they themed the afterlife after a DMV. They themed it after a DMV.
No, it makes sense.
Filtered through a German expressionistic lens.
Yeah.
Because, it's a DMV. You're fucking waiting there for an eternity. We all have been to a DMV. We've all dealt with that bullshit.
Luckily, I've only had to deal with it a couple of times. So.
Same. Because some of the more fantastical sequences in the film were created using stop motion.
Of course.
Basically, obviously, if you know what stop motion is, great. But it means that the artists create a model, for example, like a tiny Beetlejuice snake, and then take pictures of it, moving it slightly between each picture to create the illusion of movement.
You can tell that the Beetlejuice snake kind of seemed like it was stop motion.
Even the chairs, like the sculpture she had that trapped them and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Very much those were all. And even the sandworm himself.
Yeah.
But Robert Short was also an artist who had worked in Hollywood for more than 40 years and recalled his initial impressions of Beetlejuice and why its cinematic experience cannot be easily duplicated. He said, I remember getting the script before meeting Tim so I could prepare myself. And when I read it, it was this wild Tim Burton-esque overlay on this relatively grim horror script. And that creating this really unique look for the film gave us all this wild playground in which we got to work. So it's kind of fun because it really... I love when films are so fantastical and wild because it really gives the artist something fun to play with.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, Beetlejuice is a really fun looking film. It's so whimsical and fun. The aesthetic and the design of it is really beautiful.
It could have gone
more
really bad.
Yeah, it could have gone too much and it would have been really bad, but it came out perfect.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun because like, so the sandworm sequence in Beetlejuice,
Yeah.
the way they were described in the script, it was actually supposed to look like a scene at a dune. Obviously that was inspiration.
Yeah.
These horrible, but they were supposed to be brown, ugly worms.
No, I
that were
love
trying
how
to
they
attack
look.
everybody. But when Robert Short met with Tim, there was a maquette from Rick Henricks of the sandworms. And they were black and white with stripes, with the big blue lips and the secondary head inside the mouth. Which, honestly, I'm so grateful they went with that because it's so fun.
It's so cool.
It's so cool.
And it's so iconic. Like,
yes,
you see that and you know
it's Beetlejuice. And then when it came to transforming Michael Keaton into the ghost with the most, Burton hired V. Neal.
Yep.
Go, bad bitch, we love you.
Yep.
V. Neal. She's
done
amazing.
So much. She's done so much.
So, obviously, one of the most ingenious artists in Hollywood to create what would become an iconic character and still resonates with film fans more than 30 years later.
Yep.
When it came time to decide on a color palette that would drive the visual style of the characters in the film, inspiration came by of a classic candy that Neil utilized while she was designing Keaton's character. So one of the first things they had talked about were the characters that were in the afterlife themselves. Tim wanted the people in the afterlife to have these pastel colors to them, like Necco wafers.
Aw.
So it's those, like, what's funny is they refer to as those dreadful candies that come in wax paper because it's basically like a bunch of different flavored candy wafers. I think they're pretty good, but that's me. They ended up making them much brighter than that, or they wouldn't have shown up well on screen.
It just shows you can pull inspiration from literally anything.
They literally pulled inspiration from freaking candy.
Like, literally. Which is why I love Face Off, because I always had, like, we're going to give you some objects. Now, create an entire look based off this.
Hey, FX, please bring back Face
Right?
Off.
Please.
You got to 13 seasons. Frickin' keep going.
You can keep
There's
going.
so much more.
You can absolutely keep going.
And so, basically, her thinking was, if all these other people are pastel colors, then Beetlejuice has to be that way too.
Yeah.
So they made him pastel yellow.
Yeah, which is, ooh.
And everybody thinks he was white,
No.
but his makeup base actually had yellow in it. And they dyed that wig of his several different times until it finally came out with like a dirty platinum blonde at the roots, and then it became pale yellow with green tips. And they put makeup all over Michael's face. And they did these big dark circles around his eyes to make him look more cartoony. And then she sent someone off to a hobby store to buy her crushed foam and moss so she could put it all over his face, like he'd just crawled out from underneath a rock.
Yeah.
And something else that was funny was that Michael wanted a fake nose for the character. But they didn't have any money to do prosthetics. But their assistant, Steve Laporte, I don't know which ones were that's correct, had some swollen lips already made. So they put them on each side of his nose to make it look broken. And that's how the look of Beetlejuice came out. And Tim was thrilled when they came up with it. Because here's the other fascinating thing is that initially they were testing Beetlejuice to have all different kind of, like, they were trying to figure out what he was going to look like.
Yeah.
And Tim literally looked at V and was like, just do what you think is right.
Fair enough.
And she just, like, kept experimenting, trying to change things. And we got this.
I love it when directors give people creative freedom.
Yes. And literally, that was the smartest decision he could have made because she made one of the most iconic fucking characters in the world.
Yep.
Literally.
For sure.
Lightsterly. Now it's your turn.
Oh, goodness.
I did all my notes, so now it's your turn to
That
go
was all
for
your
your
notes?
stuff. Yes, it was.
Oh, well, I just have, some of his powers and abilities.
Yeah, go for it.
Per usual. He's got reality warping, invulnerability, levitation and flight,
Yeah.
regeneration, shape-shifting, teleportation, like for himself and other people.
Yeah.
Can summon or conjure objects, possession, obviously mimicking people's voices.
Oh, yeah.
Ventriloquism, and telekinesis.
Yeah.
He's got lots of stuff. He's a very powerful man.
Yes, he is.
You wouldn't think it, though. If, he had all these powers, how was he stuck in a model?
Also, but I think that the reason why he's stuck, look, Beetlejuice may be powerful, but he's also dumpy and dumb.
That is
The way that he acts.
that, and also like it's only the power that you give him by saying his name, really.
He's also, but also the other part is he's so cocky that the way that his character is he's so fucking cocky that he can't comprehend when he fails.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like, oh shit, you know?
Yeah. He has lots of names. We got Betelgeuse, Beetlejuice, BJ, Beej, Junior, Ghost with the Most, as you said. Apparently in the early like writings for the script, he was actually supposed to be a winged demon.
Oh shit.
Like a lot scarier.
Which I'm not surprised that they would want to make him more demonic in nature, just because of like that he's supposed to be this like really bad character that you're supposed to not fuck with. Mm-hmm. But he's like this silly and dumb that you like underestimate him.
For sure.
I feel like that came across so much better. I think if he was scarier, I don't know, it just wouldn't feel the same.
Yeah, apparently, like, Michael McDowell, he was inspired by Ghostbusters and Poltergeist, which both of those movies give, like, two
total different vibes.
Completely different vibes.
Yeah.
So, I guess he just kind of, like, he teamed up with Lawrence Sinellick to try and come up with more ideas for the script. Apparently, both of them got annoyed with their families, and then that was their inspiration. I don't know where, like, where they were annoyed with their families, but I guess that it's just... that comes in through the theme of, like, how this family interacts with each other.
Oh, yeah. And just, like, moving in general, fucking make tensions high. If you're moving with, like, family and friends or whatever the fuck, it is the most stressful. You will be at each other's throats.
Yeah.
Trust me, as someone who has recently moved.
Yeah.
Again.
Oof.
So
For,
trust
like,
me.
how many times?
I don't fucking know at this point.
Yeah, it's a lot.
But it's like, yeah, because it's a stressful ass experience.
For sure.
Especially they moved from fucking New York to Vermont.
Yeah, that's gotta be rough. Especially
they went from the main city to fucking bumfuck nowhere.
That's a huge change. Huge. But basically, so they took the information, or not the information, the inspiration of, like, their families being annoyed with their families, like, and having the people be bad instead of the ghosts.
Yeah.
So, like, the ghosts were kind, loving people.
Yeah.
And then the actual real life people
were
like,
dicks.
Yeah. So, like, changing that concept around and making something new.
Yeah.
So that's where the basic movie plot came from.
Yeah, I like that. I like that they didn't do the expected with that.
No, for sure. But basically, the original, there was a lot of rewrites, apparently. Because at first they wanted to do just classic horror movie, very graphic, very gory.
Gotcha. Ghosts
so
as
more
bad
like
guys.
The Exorcist.
Gotcha.
Type.
Yeah. They wanted it to be dark and scary.
Yeah, with, again, him being a demon.
Yeah.
So instead of, you know, being comedy, funny, pranking people, he was going to be very scary murderer.
Yeah.
Who wanted to kill the Dietz family instead of
just scare them
like
off.
just scaring them away. Yeah. Ooh, that's kind of trigger warning. Trigger warning.
Okay.
But basically, in the original script, they were going to have Beetlejuice, like, rape Lydia.
Oh.
That's not cool.
Yeah. You guys made a good decision on changing that shit.
Extremely. Very.
Because people love the current film. Because of the way that the current film is.
Exactly. At the same time, they also wanted the Maitland's death to be way more graphic.
Wow.
You know, like with them crying for help, trying to claw their way out of the car.
So, like a literal true
like
horror
an actual
film,
drowning. And also, instead of the ending it got, they would have had Lydia dying and joining the Maitlands.
Yeah.
Instead of, you know, living. But they got lots of criticism for that.
Oh, yeah.
So eventually got to
where it is now.
Yeah.
So much better.
And then they found Tim Burton to direct it.
Yeah.
At the same time, Keaton almost didn't do this. It took 3 meetings with Tim Burton.
He really wasn't about, he was not about to play this
Really didn't want to. I guess the way Burton tried to explain it to Keaton, it was not great. Like, Keaton had no idea what he was talking about.
It also made him uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because it was the idea of this, like, you know, marrying a child.
That as well.
Just the negativity towards, like, a character that's that
Keaton
dark.
said he liked Burton, but he just didn't get the role at all.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
So they met again. Keaton still didn't get it.
Yeah.
So they met one more time. And Burton was finally able to
get the message across.
Yeah.
Like, thank God, because
and, like,
Keaton was
him
great.
To think about it And where Keaton like kind of went and like built up his own, you know, parts of the character.
Yeah. Built up a little backstory for him.
Yeah. So, and he like wanted say in what his costuming was like, asked for clothing from like different time periods and things like that.
Yeah.
So that he could have more creative say within the character.
Yeah.
And he even said that he wanted his hair to look like he, you know, was electrocuted. So that was pretty cool. Apparently he also wanted the mold on his face too. So Neil, genius.
Yep.
Keaton also had some input. So I guess it was just like their two brains mixed together.
Yeah. And I mean, even so Beetlejuice is getting a second movie.
Woo!
But you know that, like, again, Keaton almost didn't want to reprise his role.
I believe that. That makes sense.
But I'm glad he chose to.
Yeah.
Because at this point, he is Beetlejuice.
He is. But I do know that there are really good impersonators out there that probably also...
Oh, yeah. There's an actor that 100% I know for a fact could have been a great replacement.
Yeah.
Without question.
Who?
Okay. If Keaton hadn't committed to coming back as Beetlejuice, my alternate...
Yes.
would have been Cheyenne Jackson.
Let me see.
He is from, did you watch Disney Descendants?
I know who you're talking about.
Hades?
Yeah. Really?
Facts.
But he's really
Did you
young.
watch
Well, I guess
Hades?
you would say that.
Did you see?
He's not young. He's not young.
Did you see how
I did.
acts?
I do, yeah.
Would be so perfect.
You're right.
He would be a perfect... Because when I saw the promotional posters for it,
that makes sense.
I initially thought it was him.
That does make sense.
Like, he would be a perfect option because, again, it's a fucking ghost. He doesn't have to age.
Right. It's true.
And I think that would be a great, like, if Michael Keaton didn't want to do it, I think he would be a great option. Because he played Hades as a kind of funny, but like scary, and it was good.
Yeah.
Like, I think he would have been a really good option.
I think the reason the Maitlands aren't going to be back in the new film is probably because they have aged and ghosts don't. So it doesn't really make sense to bring.
It's why I'm so fucking curious as to what this story is going to be about.
Yeah.
Because literally the last thing that happened was Beetlejuice got effing eaten by a sandworm, and to see what happened after that.
Yeah, they're probably going to show us what happened to him. I
you
hope
know,
they do.
And then what the fuck is Johnny Depp? What are you? What's your role?
Right?
Who are you?
I think he's going to be married to Winona Ryder, and if
but
that's going
does
to blow,
he die?
That's going to blow.
Is he
going to
be our ghost?
Probably. Is
he going to be our ghost?
We'll see.
Because it talks about like that there's going to be like a funeral.
Because if Jenna Ortega is anyone's love child, it's theirs. It's Winona's and Johnny Depp's, and you can't tell me.
You know what?
You
want to know what? Really, honestly, Jenna Ortega looks like she could be their kid.
That's what I'm saying.
Facts. It really does. It honestly, yeah.
I love that.
That is facts. No, so it's fucking perfect. But I'm just so effing curious because the cast is wild for the new film. Fucking wild. So look forward to that in the future.
For sure. Originally, Beetlejuice was not going to be the name of the movie.
What was it?
Some executives wanted it to be called House Ghosts.
This is why you don't let executives have any fucking say because they're not artists.
Yeah.
They're like, can we make a house ghost?
Right.
Because that's spooky.
Yeah. So Burton obviously
idiots.
did not like that. And he was trying to fuck with his bosses and was like, what if we call it Scared Sheetless? Instead of House Ghosts. But he did that thinking that they wouldn't like that and let him go for Beetlejuice.
They would so fucking go for that name.
They did like it.
Because they're effing idiots. Because that's how that works.
They really actually considered it Scared Sheetless.
Thank fucking God they didn't.
No, yeah.
Beetlejuice just sounds so much cooler.
So much better.
So much better.
So...
Sorry, I just came up with another idea. We could totally do Beetlejuice and Lydia.
You're so right.
Facts. Anyway.
You're so right. Sorry, context. HHN. We have a whole bunch of ideas for what we want to do.
Yes. So look forward to that because there's, you could maybe meet us if you were in the Orlando HHN. Yeah. Come say hi.
Anyway, so here's a little tidbit on Lydia's red dress. So Burton decided to make it red because of this saying called married in red, better off dead.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So it's literally like a warning. It's like, this is a bad decision. You honestly at this point are better off dead than marrying this person.
Yeah, and it's like the forced wedding idea. So it's just, And then this is just a bunch like Easter egg stuff.
Yeah, go for it.
So the ring that Beetlejuice used on Lydia's finger.
Yeah.
He took it off of like
someone else's finger.
Yeah. But that someone else was actually his past lover who like broke his heart.
Oh shit.
And that's why Beetlejuice committed suicide and became a civil servant, which is why he was...
Oh, shit.
Yeah, which is why he was Juno's assistant.
Mm-hmm. Holy shit.
Yup.
So he literally electrocuted himself. Quote, quote, quote. We don't know how he died. But
we don't know.
If he said that he wanted his hair to look like it got electrocuted, I would assume that it was probably like his backstory is that he like with a toaster in the bath.
How unhinged he... Yeah, I was literally just going to say how unhinged he is. He probably like threw a toaster in the bathtub while he was in it.
Yeah, it explains the chaos.
Mm-hmm. Another thing. There's a lot of Tim Burton Easter eggs like that basically foresaw his future films.
Oh, yes. I think I know one that you're going to say.
I know one that you know. But when Barbara and Adam are sitting in Juno's office, there are like two skeletons behind them. Like one, a green one and a red one. And apparently that's like a Easter egg towards Tim Burton's Mars Attack movie that he made later. And then obviously there's, the Jack Skellington Easter egg with...
And it's a very quick, like if you don't catch it...
It's like on top of the circus thing, right?
When Beetlejuice first comes out, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the very top little skeleton head guy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Real cute. And then the number 3 is all over this film.
Oh. Wow.
In reference to like Beetlejuice, his name being called 3 times.
Oh. That's actually cool.
So when Barbara says home 3 times to get her and Adam out of the model, the door to the civil servant's office requires 3 knocks to get in the door. And it's the number of like sessions that they're allowed.
Yeah.
Also, when Delia is like talking about all her sculptures, he's like, there's only 3. There's supposed to be 4. That kind of thing. There's also... when the Maitlands first arrive in Juno's office.
Oh, gotcha.
There's like on the loudspeaker, there's like a hint to this really fatal plane crash that happened in 1955.
Oh.
And so over the loudspeaker, it says Flight 409 is arriving at gate 3.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So, also the Maitland's house has 3 floors.
You know what? Yeah.
The number 3 is all over this place.
And some of it's very subtle. Like, that's crazy. I didn't even think about that.
Mm-hmm. So, it's all pretty cool. I love little Easter egg things.
Yeah, those are fun. Those are fun.
The reason I thought I did some sandworm research, but most of the stuff I found was, like, from the animated series that they did later. I guess the sandworms live in a place called the Neither World in a desert region called Sandworm Land.
Very original.
And that it's assumed that sandworms will only eat ghosts, but in I guess one of the episodes, Lydia and Beetlejuice like protected a baby sandworm and then it treated them like parents.
Oh.
They can be tamed, obviously.
Yeah.
From when
Barbara tamed one.
Yeah. So they're seen as like very animalistic, like dog like, or just looking for the next meal or whatever. But
very monster.
And suggested that they are really stupid and all of that. But I guess they aren't. Just from the animated series. Yeah. But what I was saying, why I thought it was Saturn, not Jupiter, this one actually is from the movie. In one of the earlier scripts, they were going to be on Titan, like the sandworms.
Gotcha.
Which is one of Saturn's moons.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, that's where I got that from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just lots and lots of stuff about this film. So many Easter eggs, so much background. And that's really all I have.
So on to 1-star reviews?
1-star reviews, which honestly were a disappointment.
Okay.
Like, they were just more mean than, like, funny.
Because people are going to be dicks about everything.
I know, right?
Let's go for it.
One says, this is the worst Tim Burton film ever, and I am a Tim Burton fan. It's just Michael Keaton walking around goosing people. There are a few things I don't understand. Why does Beetlejuice say, attention Kmart shoppers? Was the ending musical number in the script? Somebody wrote that down? ? I mean... It just wasn't... I don't know.
Yeah.
How are you gonna...
Also, you're acting like Kmart didn't exist and that he wasn't just, like, fucking around. It's also still a comedy.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't have to really make sense.
No.
He's saying that because he's acting like...
Rest his soul, Robin Williams have you fucking watched Aladdin? The number of just like real world jokes that he made in the film that were fucking amazing.
Right.
But you'd have to know them in real world takes. Like, come on.
Right.
Come on.
Was the ending musical number in the script? Obviously, it's in the fucking script. And why are you asking if somebody wrote that down?
I know.
Clearly, it was.
It's literally a fucking callback
to the part in the movie where they...
Yeah.
Did you watch the movie?
I know. At this point, I'm like... At this point, I think people are just making reviews for the sake of just doing it.
This next one kind of irritates me because it's like, I don't really get where you're coming from, but at the same time I do, but at the same time I don't.
Okay.
Because obviously this movie was made 30 years ago, so they said, this movie did not age well. I know it was made a long time ago, but groping people for laughs is not okay. Sexual harassment is not funny. It's gross and distasteful. This film should stay in the vault for good.
No. How dare you try and fucking vault this? Don't you dare.
Right?
Number 2, fucking films still do that to this effing day.
And what's irritating is that those parts are so minuscule within this
so
movie.
Minor. And here's the thing.
I'm sitting here thinking about like...
It's the Beetlejuice stuff. Like him kissing her and him groping at her.
Yeah.
But the thing is that just fucking plays into the type of character that Beetlejuice is.
That he's a bad guy.
He's a bad fucking guy.
And that's what
that's
the entire
whole
movie is about.
Point. He literally forces a girl to marry him in order to save her ghost friends.
Yeah.
Like, the whole point is he's a bad dude. He's gonna do bad dude shit.
Like,
that's like the fucking point.
I don't know. It's like you're supposed to like him, but you're supposed to not like him.
Yes. You're supposed to like him because he's fucking stupid and silly.
Yeah.
But he's also like, actually, you're kind of bad.
Yeah.
You're a bad person.
Mm-hmm. And like the movie barely focuses on that.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion. It's an hour and a half long. He's only in it for like 15 minutes. So
yeah.
Find something else to complain about. Sorry.
Yeah.
And The Vault?
No.
What? The Vault is for terrible, horrible movies.
No.
Like,
no.
What? What do you mean?
Not always. Sometimes The Vault is for classic films that just get vaulted. Disney does that shit a lot where they will vault
because
like
they
original
were very
classics.
Racist.
Well, no, I mean like even
very not
like
good
original
movies.
Like original films, like of the original like Disney princess films, the original.
Oh well,
those are vaulted films. Though some of those films are vaulted, like Bambi's vaulted. There's
but I'm saying
some
a lot
things like
of
that
films,
are
though,
yes. There's a lot of really bad fucking shit that's vaulted, and that's fine. But some businesses vault like very, very old classic films that are favorites, but there's two different sides to the vault.
Yeah, I just most of the time you're gonna find the themes in there, the innuendos, not great. So that's where I have that issue.
Yeah.
This next one was fucking stupid. It says, "Now I love Tim Burton. He's probably the most unique, gifted directors out there.
Mm-hmm.
I've only seen one film by him."
I'm sorry. Is there more to this?
Yeah.
Read more. I need more.
Edward Scissorhands, which I loved. So instead of liking the guy from one film, I researched his other works, and Beetlejuice always interested me the most. So I waited and waited, then finally watched it as soon as it started to record.
The fuck?
And I'm sad to say that I didn't like Beetlejuice at all. That's it. That's the quote.
Number one. Okay. A, you can't say you're a fan if you've watched one fucking movie.
Right.
2,
he's the most unique and gifted. I've seen a single movie by him.
You can't act like you know him professionally and his professional career and also still seen only one fucking film. That's not how that works.
Yeah.
You can't be a fan or think he's a great fucking director if you've seen one fucking movie. That is not the basis of his career. Trust me. Tim Burton, yes, he's an absolutely fucking amazingly acclaimed director who's a little questionable.
He's got some issues.
Got some issues and some questionable shit. Whereas we've definitely gotten
come out and said that he won't cast black people.
He's got his diversity issues.
Very much so.
But that does not stop him from still being an amazing fucking like storyteller, director, creator.
Like,
doesn't stop him from that.
Obviously, his stories can be fixed and be more inclusive.
Everybody got problems.
Yeah.
Everybody got problems. No one's perfect.
That is in no way trying to justify his actions.
No, not even in the slightest.
No.
Like, it would be fantastic to see diversity on multiple levels.
Oh my God, yeah. So they just sounded fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I don't know what else
I
to
agree.
say. This next person said, I don't even think I watched the whole movie, and then proceeded to like make a review. And I couldn't even bother. I was like...
They didn't even watch the whole movie and then thought that they could review the movie. That's not...
They said, I don't even think I watched the whole movie. What do you mean?
How can you...
Because then they
You either didn't or you did.
No, because then they talked about like the ending. And I was like...
What
the fuck are you saying right now?
I don't think I watched the whole movie, but here's the ending of the film that clearly makes it seem like I watched the whole fucking thing. You know?
I don't know.
I don't
know.
I don't know what's going on in these reviews, man.
I don't either. Like, these are not great.
No,
like,
they're wild. They're weird.
That's what I'm saying. They're not funny. They're just kind of stupid.
Facts.
This next one says, I am completely bewildered by the success of this film. It made the list of 1,000 best, according to the last edition of New York Times Movie Critics. Excuse me? But then again, Breakfast at Tiffany's didn't make the list, and Breakfast Club did. I'm sorry. Breakfast Club should be on that list.
Hell yeah, it should be.
Breakfast Club is so good.
Fucking good, yeah.
It's iconic.
It's fun.
It's so fun.
It's silly.
Yeah.
It's endearing.
Yes. Honestly, Breakfast at Tiffany's...
It's funny.
Would not make the
Breakfast
list for
at
me
Tiffany's
either.
beautiful.
It is, but it wouldn't make my list.
But it's not that, no.
It wouldn't make my list
No.
either. So already...
Granted, my list, trust me, ever since starting this podcast, my list of favorite films have fucking drastically changed. Because now there are horror films in that list.
Yeah, which
that I
is
definitely
crazy.
sure shit would have never fucking...
Yeah.
I have a whole other life. I fucking... In some of the houses at HHN, I didn't fucking scream. It was wild.
Yep.
It's just wild.
We are desensitizing ourselves to this shit from this
I'm
podcast.
okay with that.
I'm cool with it too. But I just don't trust your judgment if you're gonna say Breakfast Club was shit.
Yeah.
And then, you know...
And also that Beetlejuice did not deserve to be on the list.
Because
like,
it absolutely does.
It does.
It does.
It does.
First time watching this movie, I was so mad at myself that I hadn't seen it sooner.
Hell yeah. It's a good ass fucking movie.
Yeah.
And you know what's really funny is I have a distinct memory from being a kid where I think my parents had Beetlejuice on in the living room, but I didn't know what they were watching. And all I fucking remember, the literal only scene that my brain can remember is them coming back through the concrete door with the weird ass faces. And that's all I can remember.
Oh, yeah.
That's literally the only fucking part that I can remember. I can't remember anything else, but that was like a fucking... I still remember it to this day. For some reason, it became a core memory. I don't know why, but it became a core memory, and I remembered it. It's wild.
Nice. Yeah. Core memories are good. I have a lot of that with, you know, movies my parents watched when they thought I was trying to sleep and then me, like, not being able to and, like, going out and, like, looking at what they were... One of those movies was... Oh, my God. It was actually kind of traumatizing. They thought I was asleep and they were watching Sweeney Todd.
Oh, shit.
And I walked out in the park.
Oh, yes. You told me that you were, like, terrified of Sweeney Todd, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I used to... Because I was really, really little.
Oh, yeah.
My bedtime was really early at this point, and that's why they were still up after me. Like,
I remember you
watching
telling me
movies.
this when we sat down to watch Sweeney Todd with your family.
Yep. And I walked out, like, I would sneak because I thought I would get in trouble for, you know, being up. And I walked in at the part where he's literally killing someone in the chair and, like, the blood splatters and, like, he pushes them into, like, like, he, like, uses the lever and they go down into the basement. And then I fucking yeeted back to my room. I was like, nope.
I am out. I'm outie bagouty. Goodbye.
Like, no wonder they wanted me to go to bed.
See,
they didn't want me seeing any of that, which, fair enough.
Being older and later in life watching Sweeney Todd, I'm not gonna lie. I had a couple parts. One that was the most, for me personally, the most traumatizing part was when he fucking throws her, when they're dancing and then he throws her in the fire.
Oh my God.
Fuck, that's terrifying shit. And number two, just gave me supreme fucking ick. Gave me the ickiest of ick. Is the dude when he's in a room and he's like, I would like lay my head on your soft pillowy yellow hair.
Yeah.
And like very insinuating, not on her head.
Ew.
Very insinuating a different place that has yellow hair.
Yikes.
And I was like, you give me supreme stalker ick, and it just is not cool, dude.
Yeah.
Not cool.
I love you, Joanna.
Yes, that fucker right there.
Steal you.
In that fucking song, he
So good.
definitely alludes
Oh, for sure. He's
to
a
wanting to put
fucking
his
creeper.
face in her nussy.
Yeah.
And it's just...
He's something. He's something else.
Uncomfortable. And he's in her, I can't even tell if it's actually happening or not, but he's in her fucking room and she's laying down sleeping.
Ugh.
I am not cool with it.
No.
Not cool with it. Supreme ick.
Also, that's not my real singing voice, guys. If I wanted you to hear it, you would. Thank you.
That's just going to be a running gag from now on, is that you're just hiding your real singing voice by just fucking around.
Yeah, because I'm never, maybe I'll post a cover one day. We'll see. I love karaoke.
We are dead ass. You're going to definitely hear it in a video if ever we record a vlog or whatever, because her ass can't stop herself from fucking singing all the time. That's a fact.
It's true. I always be singing little ditties.
Hell yes.
That's just how it goes when you've been singing since you were like 5. So
yep.
I'm not ashamed of it.
Mm-hmm. It's like me. I can't help but be like, ooh, I'm gonna take a picture of this thing.
Yeah.
And I have to stop every 5 fucking seconds. So
I feel like I annoy so many people with it, but then they're like, no, we love it. We love hearing you sing. And I'm like...
Yeah, and it's a struggle when I'm in an amusement park and I'm in a fucking line and I want to take pictures and have to keep moving.
Like yesterday.
Fucking yesterday. Yeah. And I was like, fuck, it's dark and I can't...
You're going into the darkest deal again for HHN and like the whole line was backed up and she was just trying to take a picture.
I was trying to take a picture so fucking bad.
People were already almost all the way into the house.
Yes!
And like she had to turn the corner still and there was like a
Which was wild
gap.
Because like literally right before we were allowed into that section of the line, it was fucking full.
Yeah.
And then it fucking vanished. And I was like, no, don't do this to me.
That's how you know it moves really quickly.
Yes.
But I like going through the houses slow.
Yeah.
Because you get the scares, you get to see
I feel like
more.
we were able to like really understand some of the houses a little bit more that we didn't understand before.
So we will say Dr. Oddfellows was better.
It was better because we were able to get a little bit more of it, but it's still in the same place.
Still in the same ranking, yeah.
And for Darkest Deal, it was slightly in a better position for me because the smell was not as fucking horrid.
I did get a whiff of what you meant though.
Yes.
Like just a little bit though, and then it went away.
Yes.
But it was so strong, I was like, ew.
Oh yeah.
No.
Real intense.
Yeah.
Also, because we got to go see The Exorcist Believer.
Right.
We actually like understood the house more. Just because of it.
We went in at a time where like
the actors were swapping out.
Yeah, so there were no actors.
Which
I was sitting
wild.
there like, oh my God, is this going to be the entire night because they're at the end of HHN? It wasn't. We were good.
Also, part of the thing is I don't know why you wouldn't like stop, like cut the line until the actors reset.
Because they need to just keep the line going.
I know.
Although
Booty
that's
sauce.
what they should do.
It is what they should do. Because it's literally just enough time to let the actors fucking get back into place.
Yeah.
It's like
all
a play.
they need is like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
To swap.
Because I think I remember in
We
the
saw,
in the room, she was trying to fucking come out of the door.
Yeah, and like tap on her to swap. That ruined it so bad.
No. I saw a girl who was trying to come in to sit. So when we were in the Exorcist house, when it's the scene where the one girl's hanging on the ceiling and the other one.
No, I'm saying in that scene there was their next door neighbor who's like trying to, exorcise them.
Oh.
The lady in the corner.
Yes.
Yeah, the same lady in the same outfit. Like there were 2 of them. One of them opened the door and like tapped her on the shoulder to like swap.
Oh.
Yeah.
I also saw the girl who was supposed to be sitting in the seat.
I missed that. So we saw 2
That's what
things.
I saw the girl attempting to come out of the door to get into the fucking seat to sit.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah.
Which is why things like that are a little difficult. Like you should cut the line for like
even just a couple fucking
10 seconds. That's all you need.
Like 1 minute of a cut time and they'd be in position.
Yep.
Anyway.
That's our rant.
That was a bit of a diatribe. But
Beetlejuice is awesome. Ready
Hell
for
yeah,
movie 2.
all right. Are we good?
Yeah, that's it.
I think that's it.
That's all I got.
So next week's film is a fucking weird one.
Ugh. I'm sorry. Should I hide my disgust? I'm sorry.
Oof. Well, you know how she feels. It is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It's weird.
The effects
It's
are
not
great.
it's not the most fucking terrible film in the world.
I don't know
It is
about
not
that.
Would You Rather level. It's not as bad as Would You Rather comparatively, because at least they had fucking special effects that were really good.
I mean,
Like the faces of the clowns were fucking amazing because they emoted.
I just don't
and
care about Would You Rather. I just don't care about it. Killer Clowns from Outer Space, I think it's really stupid. Like, the effects, yes, are really crazy cool.
Cool looking. The concept is good. It just wasn't executed perfectly.
It's stupid. It's a stupid, funny movie. And, like, it goes on for so long.
It does. It goes on for too fucking long. I will agree with that.
The part you think it should end, it doesn't.
I will say that the film could do some retooling and could definitely be done a little bit better,
For sure.
and it would be great. I think it's a cool concept. I just think that they maybe missed the mark a bit, but that might be because of the time period that it came out in.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
But if you couldn't tell already, this month is just full of the
It's kind
silly,
of like
quirky.
a silly, quirky, but like they're also kind of like, you know, you could just kind of get cozy and just be like throw on like a fun little film to toss on.
Maybe not Killer Clowns from Outer Space,
The
but
first two, yeah. But
first
you
two
know.
for sure. This one,
And then
unless it's the first or the second ending from Little Shop of Horrors.
unless it's that one can fuck off.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you know what to do, guys. Like, subscribe, you know, thumbs up, boop the bops and ding the bells and all that kind of shit and reviews and all that kind of stuff. Because it helps. Send an email at horrorunmasked@gmail.com. Let us know what you think about Beetlejuice. Tell me what your speculation is for Beetlejuice 2.
Yeah, tell us what you want to happen.
Hell yeah.
What you think might happen.
Oh yeah.
I'm excited.
Follow us at Instagram and Twitter at Horror Unmasked. Listen on Spotify and iTunes at Horror Unmasked Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube at Horror Unmasked Podcast.
Otherwise, Beetlejuice will come and try to marry you. You don't want that.
You know, there's probably dead ass some people who are down for that.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I think with that,
There's only one thing left to ask. Will you fear?
or will you fear not?